good afternoon. Greetings from Maryland, USA. I'm Steve, and this is my 1998 Toyota Hilux Surf. It's a KZN185, so it has the 3-liter turbo diesel. It's intercooled. It's a model that was not available here in the United States. Has a lot of similarities to the USDM 4Runner, so I just kind of wanted to give you a general overview of what's different, what's the same, what I've done with it, why I got it, and what I plan to do with it. So on the front here is a fake Japanese license plate. Put that on just for the video, just for the aesthetic. I do have a valid state of Maryland title on the car and a valid registration on it. So if you guys have any questions about, the import process, because I did import it myself, I didn't use any kind of import service. I went directly with a dealer in Japan, figured out how to get it here. This is my third JDM vehicle, so I have been around the block with it. So let me know what kind of content you guys are looking for, and let's talk about the Surf.
Back in September of 2024, I reached out to my dealer in Japan that I've worked with in the past, and I told him, hey, I'm looking into Hilux Surfs, third generation. I would like it to be a KZN185, which has the 3-liter turbo diesel. He got back to me and he said, oh, and I said I need a manual transmission. So he got back to me and he was like, listen, they're not super rare. Like, they come up, but if you want a petrol version, they're a lot more common. I was like, no, really, I would like the diesel KZN 185. They all have 4x4. It's the biggest diesel that they offer. Just an awesome drivetrain. So he was like, yeah, I'll look for them. He ended up coming up. He came across a couple of them throughout September, and by the end of the month, he had found this one. It's probably like the third or fourth one we looked at. And what I really liked about it was, if you look at the auction sheet, which he translated for me, up here, it was single owner. The guy really took care of this, and you could tell, even though it does have the scratches, whatever. If you've ever bought a JDM vehicle before, you never know exactly what you're going to get. I do trust my dealer, though. When it came to the underneath rust, which is a known issue with third generation 4Runners, I asked him, I said, can you please just check, make sure the rust isn't too bad before we bid on it? And he did. And he said that it wasn't something that we needed to worry about. The frame wasn't rusted through, just some surface rust. And when they do these auction sheets, they're pretty stingy. So 3C is what you almost always see. You see 3 and then C. Anything above a 3 tends to be in impeccable shape for something 25 years or older that you can import into the US. So I felt pretty good about it. And again, I do trust my dealer. It's hard to find somebody to trust. But thankfully I got lucky the first time. And you can go on Facebook. There's entire Facebook groups like I got screwed by a JDM car dealer and stuff like that. So, we ended up bidding on this and we got it for the price we wanted. So that was back in September. It was here by early December. So that's where we're at with it.
As I said, this is the KZN185. It has a 3-liter turbo diesel, and it is intercooled. The intercooler was an option, and it apparently adds maybe 10 horsepower. Has a functional hood scoop, which I can show you on the front. The USDM 4Runners, I believe the SR-5 trim, also had hood scoops on it, but they were fake. They were non-functional. This one feeds the air to the intercooler. Swing out rear tire carrier is exclusive to the Surfs. The USDM 4Runners had it mounted underneath. It's actuated by, there's a little pull-out thing here. Pull that, comes out, and you're able to use your tailgate. I was looking for this vehicle. One of the ones that my dealer found at auction did not have a rear swing out tire carrier. It had the tire mounted underneath like a USDM 4Runner. And it was listed at the auction as a former ambulance. So I guess they needed that rear tailgate access.
Pictures of the fire truck that came up for auction. You see the, it's got this stuff on top. I guess that's where some kind of lighting equipment was, and get to the back of it. It was a manual. I mean, it met all the qualifications that I asked the dealer to find. It has a turbo timer, which is pretty neat. I mean, I know people debate how useful they are, but here's what I found interesting right here. I'd never seen a Hilux Surf before without the swing out tire carrier. So yeah, I thought that was pretty interesting. You can see it mounted down here. It does have the Hilux Surf bracket though, so I guess it's an option. I've just never seen one.
Okay, I want to go over the interior, which is just in absolutely incredible condition. I mean, don't mind the wet floor mat. That's just for me getting in and out of the car in the snow. It is absolutely, like, there's plastic on the sun visor on the passenger side, on the left side there. So let me go over a couple of the differences and features of the interior here. All right, the biggest differences that you're not going to find in the USDM 4Runner are its right-hand drive, and it has a diesel. The USDM 3rd gens were available with a manual transmission and with the 4x4, so it's not entirely foreign. Make sure she's in neutral. So when you start a diesel, I mean, it's already warm enough. The glow plug warning has gone away. She's started. There's no lights that shouldn't be on. I do have it in 4-wheel drive. That's the 4-wheel drive indicator in the middle, and I'll explain all those features in a minute. The only thing aftermarket on this vehicle that I could find at all was the radio. So what I did was I just swapped that out for something that accepts Apple CarPlay on the first day that I had it. Here's the HVAC controls. I believe they're the same as what was available on the limited model of the USDM 4Runner. Obviously the auto temp is going to be in Celsius, so I have it down at like 24. Goes all the way to hot after 31.5, and if you go down all the way, it goes all the way to cold. So it goes from 18 degrees to 31.5 degrees from cold to hot. I have noticed trying to hit a couple of the buttons on it. I'm not going to really mess with too much except the two knobs. This is for the auto temp and this is for the blower fan. Some of the other buttons seem to be a little bit on the fritz, so I kind of don't want to mess with them too much. And you know, I have the automatic HVAC controls working, so I'm not going to touch it too much. It's not something that I want to have to get repaired. This weird device here you'll find in almost every JDM vehicle that you import. This is simply it's a electronic toll pass, so you put some kind of card in it, and some of them talk to you. The first time I turned this vehicle on after getting it imported, something was talking to me. It was like a lady's Japanese voice. After I changed the head unit out, it no longer made those noises, so I don't know if I disconnected something or if it was wired to actually come through the car speakers. Not 100% sure, but it does not do the talking noise anymore that there's no card inserted, and I'm okay with that. The 4-wheel drive options are the same as the USDM 4Runner. So you have your actuator here. I had it in 4-wheel low because I was traversing this massive hill up here, making sure I could get out from where I pulled into. But your indicator lamp here, there's a whole bunch of different modes for how it works. So you can actually put it in 4-wheel on the fly by using this. It puts in like 4-wheel high, almost like an all-wheel drive mode, just by hitting this button. So when you're in rear-wheel drive, which it is now, just stick forward, nothing. This is a rear-wheel drive vehicle. according to the manual, I believe up to, I want to say 100 kilometers per hour, you can actually, on the fly, hit that button, and it'll put you in basically, it says four-wheel drive on the stick. It's the differential is not locked in this mode, but all four wheels are drive wheels in this mode. So beyond that, you have this, it's actually on here as four-wheel drive high. So when you pull the stick back, you'll notice that the differential is locked. That's why that indicator came on. And now it's in four-wheel drive, high four-wheel drive locked. I guess that's the H4L. And then if I were to put it over in neutral and then put it up into four-wheel low, which I'm not going to do right now, I'm going to keep it in this four-wheel drive high for now. But yeah, everything works. I had no problems with the transfer case getting anything to go in or out of four-wheel drive. A couple switches on the side here. You have your idle up button. That is exclusive to diesel models. I'll hit it now. So right now we're idling at, what was that, 700 RPMs. Diesel engines, they idle really low. So if it's a cold day or you need to power something and you're at idle, pop on the idle up. Doesn't do anything while you're driving, but just when you're idling, just pops your idle up. I mean, it works flawlessly. Now we're sitting 1200 RPM. So coolest features of the 4Runner is the rear window, the rear hatch window that goes up and down. So there's actually 3 ways to actuate this window. One is with this button here. And then I'll show you the other 2 after I turn off the vehicle. What's interesting is everything worked in this vehicle when I got it. I mean, it's just in impeccable shape. But one of the funny things was the rear window didn't work, and I was actually kind of upset about it because it's such a neat feature. But all I did was I ended up taking off the back panel inside the hatch here, and I'll actually show you. I took off this back panel and was able to find the wiring harness for the rear window, and it just wasn't plugged in all the way. So I plugged it in all the way, and now everything works. But the 2 other ways to actuate the window, one is by key. So if I turn the key to the left and hold, window comes down and you have access to your cargo area. Now if I want to put it back up, just turn to the right and hold. The third option is going to be by the key. So having a key fob isn't that uncommon for 3rd generation 4Runners, and then beyond, the 4th and 5th gen also have them. The thing is, this specific fob that came with this car, Toyota branded, if I can get in the shot, but I looked it up. This part number is not on any other vehicles in Japan, in Europe, in North America. So I've tried to use a sub-gig transmitter to read the signal, figure out what rolling code it used, try to find some kind of other option. I haven't figured it out yet. You know, it's something that I kind of want to mess with because this is my only fob. But it works flawlessly to put the rear window down. One of my plans for the Surf is to add a roof rack. What I want to do is be able to load anything, if I go on a couple-day camping trip, load all my supplies up on the top here. So there's a lot of USDM 4Runner racks that go with, you know, the roof tracks that come standard on every 4Runner. what I found was on the Surf, for whatever reason, the tracks are completely different. So on the right side of the vehicle here is one of the tracks that came with it, and on the left side is one of the tracks that I got off a USDM 4Runner at a salvage yard. So if you can see by the damage to the paint, the JDM tracks are way more wide than these USDM tracks. I would have either had to fashion up anchor plates that were wide enough for the JDM tracks, or what I did was I just went down to the junkyard because there was a 4Runner in there, and these bolts that go in there, of course, take a Torx bit. I'll put it up on the screen, but I'll show you on the other side. The JDM tracks are held in by a 10mm bolt. This is one of the few differences that I've found between the two as far as exterior condition. You know, just something that I have no idea why they would have made it different. Here's the 10mm bolts and the wider tracks on the JDM track. General overview of my new Hilux Surf. There's a lot of similarities to the 4Runner, but there are some quirks. As far as moving forward, what I want to do is keep it on the road, keep it in really good condition, just like I got it. Make sure it stays running, use all OEM parts for the most part, especially when it comes to general maintenance. We can go over that, how hard it is to find things, how easy. For example, I ordered a air filter for it. Cost me $90 after shipping because there were no USDM vehicles from Toyota that uses an OEM filter. I do plan on putting a roof rack on it. Like I said, doing some car camping trips. My buddy Derek down in Alabama is really excited. We're gonna meet somewhere in the middle. Do a few day trips here and there, be able to meet up with him a little more often than I've been able to. So yeah, overall I'm really excited. This is my first YouTube video, so please let me know, if you have any tips on how to get better, but let me know on what kind of content that you might be looking for if you're interested in the Hilux Surf, if you're interested in importing JDM vehicles in general. I'm not gonna say I'm an expert, but I've done it 3 times. I've really had no problems at all. It's not the cheapest endeavor in the world, but what hobby is? Thank you.